Edge at 11 starts now.
Tonight on The Edge, a horrific scene on Woodward in Detroit.
Pedestrian hit and killed by a car, and the driver didn't bother to stop, and that's not the end of the story. Fox News' Lauren Edwards shows us what's next.
Police have cleared the scene behind me on Woodward near Temple, but for most of the evening, it was filled with Detroit police and Wayne State police investigating the second crash. They say the first one happened less than a mile away. Now, DPD says at 5:11 this evening, a man in his 20s was driving a black sedan speeding southbound on Woodward and approaching MLK when he hit a man in his 60s who was walking by. Wayne State Lieutenant Kerry Glazer says his sergeant was nearby and saw, quote, clothes go up in the air. The driver then continued speeding down Woodward and then rear-ended another sedan in front of Little Caesars Arena. The driver behind both crashes was arrested and taken to the hospital.
Vehicle that was hit from the rear, he's at the hospital. He's in temporary serious. He'll be okay. The other driver, he got out, collapsed, but he's actually temp serious as well, and he'll be okay. So,
what about the pedestrian?
The pedestrian did not make it, unfortunately.
Lieutenant Glazer could not say if alcohol was a factor or if someone was having a medical episode. He says that's all a part of the investigation, but he did confirm that no children were involved and the queue line was not impacted. Reporting here in downtown Detroit, Lauren Edwards on The Edge.
Well, big day ahead for President Joe Biden. He will deliver his State of the Union address Thursday night.
Fox 2 is getting an exclusive access to the White House ahead of the event. Roop Raj joining us live right now from Washington with what we can expect for tomorrow. Roop.
Well, we're kind of getting a little bit of a preview because Fox 2 is one of the only stations in the country invited to be part of a summit that's taking place at the White House. In a matter of a few hours tomorrow morning, we're going to be heading there. And at that summit, they're going to have cabinet-level members talking about what the president will talk about behind us at the U.S. Capitol for his State of the Union address. Now, I had a chance to talk with lawmakers from Michigan who are kind of waiting right now for the big speech from President Biden. Some Democrats obviously hopeful for some of the agenda items that they've been working with the president with to get done. Now, here's the deal. This president has to make a speech that will, yes, talk about what he's done thus far, but also what he plans to do in the next year, in the next 2 years. That is, if he is still the president. Interesting time whenever you have a president who's running for office once again and doing a State of the Union address. You can say as much as you want. This is not a campaign speech, but you better believe it very much is on the biggest stage in the entire nation. And you talk to these local lawmakers from Michigan, and they'll tell you their wish list is tall.
Instead, the president needs to say, I'm going to keep focused on those things that affect you every day, lowering your costs, creating more opportunity for you and your family, and tackling the things that will make your life better.
The things I hear about the most are pocketbook, kitchen table things, like how much money do I have in my pocket? How much money do I save every month? How do I cover the insane costs of healthcare, prescription drugs, childcare, housing now, just buying your first house? And what's our path to a more comfortable place? That's what I hear about probably more than anything.
As an American, what I want to hear the president say is he's going to take the action using the power that he already has to secure our border. The president already has the authority, the same authority that he used to roll back the Trump regulations that were working in large part to secure our border and keep Americans safe.
You can say as much as you want that you don't believe that border is something that Americans want to talk about, but recent polls show that very much is the case. People all across the board, Democrats and Republicans, they want to hear about the president's plan when it comes to the border. That's why they talk about it. They'll also have a lot to talk about behind us when it comes to the conflict right now between Israel and Hamas, the situation with more than 30,000 Palestinians who died. Many people saying this president needs to soften his line when it comes to his support of Israel. He's expected to talk about that as well. We're going to be at the White House starting at about 10 a.m. tomorrow. And when we go there, as we say, we're the only television station in Michigan and certainly the only one in Detroit that will be at the White House. And look, Brandon, Michigan, Taryn, it's such an important state. The White House knows that. They're inviting us to ask questions to cabinet-level members. And you better believe I'm thinking about the parents of Oxford, the parents and the kids at MSU, because gun control is one thing they want to talk about. What needs to be done moving forward? Climate change, another one, and reproductive rights. We're going to be there front and center asking the questions that you at home want to know about. We'll be bringing you live reports throughout the day on Thursday. Reporting live in Washington, Roop Raj, Fox 2 News.
Yes, and voters want to know about that and so much more, really. And we know that you'll be able to get that look. You're one of 10 journalists allowed to do this. Roop, in terms of the access you'll be getting, you said cabinet members. I mean, are you going to be able to hear parts of the speech ahead of time? What other things will you be learning ahead of the State of the Union?
That's a great question. And really, every single one of these cabinet members that will be speaking with us are going to be talking about the very talking points that will be discussed later on that evening at the State of the Union address on the Senate floor. So, yes, this is going to be very much a preview of what the president is going to be talking about tomorrow night. And you'll hear it all live at 5 and 6 p.m. right here on Fox 2.
Well, we're certainly looking forward to it. Thank you so much for all your hard work out there, Roop. We'll check back with you in the morning.
Nice night out there in D.C., but we're going to talk about the weather that's here in Metro Detroit, where we can expect some showers by the end of the week.
Oh, Weather Authority, Rich Luderman joining us with the first look at the forecast, Rich.
Hey there, Taryn and Brandon. Yeah, for us today, we had the clouds. It was cool, but you can see the clouds have been thinning out over the last few hours. Certainly some wet weather to our east around New York and Boston. They can have it. We have chances for rain starting Friday, late in the day, and especially Friday night and Saturday. It is going to be damp around here for the first part of the weekend. 48 and 38, the numbers today still well above average where we should be. Some cool spots out there tonight. Howell 32, there's Flint 34, 41 over at City Airport, 40 down in Adrian. That's in Lenawee County. Check out the breeze from the north and northeast. That's pumping in somewhat cooler air. You can see 36 Ludington, 27 up there in Marquette. That's rather chilly. 39 for Buffalo. But this cool air sticks around for the next 4 or 5 days, really. But our next chance for rain comes with our next cold front. That'll bring some showers to the region late in the day Friday. Friday night and Saturday, this front is going to slow down, and that's why wet weather is likely to end the week. For the rest of tonight, it's all quiet out there. Cool and dry, down to 36. Tomorrow, back to 50 degrees with sun and clouds. Not a bad looking Thursday. Right there is the full 7-day forecast. Saturday is going to be damp. Sunday is going to be colder with some flurries in between. We're going to spring forward with the clocks at Saturday night. Brandon, Taryn, how about a full check starting at 4 a.m.?
Well, in Clinton Township, crews spent the day putting out hot spots from Monday night's massive fire and all those explosions.
Yes, as investigators search for the official cause, loved ones are mourning the loss of a teenager who died that night. As Fox News' Camille Amiri reports, his church leaders are in shock.
Turner was a great kid. Just an amazing person to be around.
Turner Salter, just 19 years old, killed Monday night during that massive warehouse fire and explosion in Clinton Township. He was standing outside a car wash about a quarter of a mile away, watching things unfold when he was hit by a piece of shrapnel.
It is definitely something that nobody prepares for. It's not something that you anticipate, and certainly the family, the church, the community are facing things that are devastating.
Turner was a lifelong member of Faith Baptist Church. He also volunteered there.
He mostly did things in our audiovisual department, our sound system. Every Sunday he was running a camera.
Senior Pastor Tim Berlin describes Turner as kind, gracious, and dependable.
When he was working around here, you asked him something to do. He was incredibly responsible. He was going to do what you asked him to do, how he was supposed to do it. And you just knew it was going to get done.
And because he was such a good person, it makes it that much harder to come to terms with what happened.
Everything happens for a reason, but we don't always know the reason. The most important thing I think that Turner would want everyone to know is that he had eternal life in front of him because of his relationship with Christ.
And tonight, Faith Baptist Church is accepting donations for the Salter family. We're going to put a link on our website, fox2detroit.com, of their website, the church's website, and right at the very top of their website, there is a link where you can donate to the family if you feel so inclined. In Clinton Township, Camille Amiri on The Edge.
Well, do you recognize this guy? Plymouth Township police are looking for him in a possible case of voter intimidation. Investigators say he put a fake camera on a light pole near a ballot box at Risen Christ Lutheran Church on Ann Arbor Road back in January. There was a sensor rigged to make a flash go off when voters pulled up to the box. The man could face felonies for voter intimidation or coercion. If you recognize him, give police a call.
Berkeley police releasing video of a pit maneuver that was used to stop a suspected drunk driver after a wild pursuit early Tuesday morning.
When police tried to stop him, he ran multiple red lights through Royal Oak before being stopped at a traffic light in Pleasant Ridge. And the suspect is a 36-year-old man from Detroit. He was driving southbound on Woodward, going more than 90 miles per hour and running multiple red lights. When the officer finally caught up with him, he tried taking off again. That's when officers used a pit maneuver to stop him, taking him then into custody. The SUV he was driving had been stolen from Auburn Hills 20 minutes before the chase. Police tell us this is the suspect's 7th drunk driving arrest.
Detroit firefighters rushed into a burning home to rescue a man who was trapped inside. They were able to get him out and get him to the hospital. This is on Monterey Street in Detroit. Battalion chief tells us that they had no water when they first arrived. Firefighters ran through the flames, found the man at the back of the house, busted a window, and brought him down to the second floor window. Neighbors did what they could to help.
I see the fire coming through the window. It was a lot of smoke. And I didn't know nobody was in the inside until I went in, try to kick the door open. But the fire was already coming out too strong. And, by me kicking the door in, it woke the man up that was in there. And, he got out pretty safe.
A community effort to save a life here. The man is expected to be physically okay. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. And a jury has been seated in the trial of James Crumbley, the father of the Oxford High School shooter.
Opening arguments are set to begin tomorrow morning. James Crumbley faces 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 1 for each of the 4 students killed by his son in 2021. A student who was shot is expected to testify. It's not clear if James Crumbley will take the stand yet. The shooter's mother, Jennifer Crumbley, was found guilty on all counts last month. She'll be sentenced in April and faces up to 15 years in prison.